Today on Larry King Now, electronic violinist Lindsey Stirling on her unique brand of music.
I do a lot of electronic and dubstep and dance music now.
What came first? Was it the violin?
Absolutely. I was a classically trained violinist from the time I was 6 and slowly evolved into something different.
On her new memoir.
It's wound throughout the book, but there's an actual story of when I first moved to LA and I went to this party, and it was a Peter Pan themed party. I had just done a pirate themed music video, so of course I'm like, oh, I have the perfect costume, and I showed up in this full pirate getup and walk in, and I was the only person in costume.
Plus,
the great thing about YouTube is that you don't need, there's no gatekeepers. No one's waiting to tell you if you're good enough or not. It's just your audience.
It's all next on Larry King Now. Since she debuted her unique craft as the hip-hop violinist on America's Got Talent in 2010, Lindsey Stirling has catapulted herself into international stardom. She's become a YouTube sensation with her music videos and testimonials garnering over 1 billion views. And now Lindsey is sharing her story in her new memoir, The Only Pirate at the Party, which just hit number 10 on the New York Times bestseller list. She co-wrote the book with her sister, Brooke Passy, who will be joining us later. What do we mean by the title?
Oh, well, I've always had sort of a fascination with pirates, their unique costuming and get-up, their search for treasure, so it's always been a fun theme of my life in a way. And it's wound throughout the book, but there's an actual story of when I first moved to LA and I went to this party, and it was a Peter Pan themed party. I had just done a pirate themed music video, so of course I'm like, oh, I have the perfect costume, and I showed up in this full pirate getup and walk in, and I was the only person in costume, and it was that moment of like, oh, do I just leave? I don't think anyone's seen me, or do I go in? And I remember looking down and just being like, this is such a metaphor of my life, and so I went in and I was the only pirate at the party.
You are known as the hip-hop violinist, right? Right.
I was when I first started on America's Got Talent.
So what do they call you now?
The
pirate.
I guess the pirate. I guess I do a lot of electronic and dubstep and dance music now.
What came first? Was it the violin?
Absolutely. I was a classically trained violinist from the time I was 6 and slowly evolved into something different.
Why did your parents give you the violin?
Actually, it's because I begged for lessons.
You wanted the violin, not the piano, not a guitar?
Yeah, they tried to kind of get me to do, the piano, any of these other instruments, but I wouldn't touch anything besides the violin. That's all I wanted. You know
why?
Yeah, my parents used to take me to orchestra concerts when I was really little, my sisters and I, and they would play classical music in our home, and the violinists always got the solos. I was a smart kid. I was like, that's my road to stardom, is that wooden thing.
Your second album, Shatter Me, debuted at number 2 on Billboard's Top 200 chart, has sold over 295,000 copies, and recently won the 2015 Billboard Music Award for Top Dance Electronic Album. Well, how did you figure out to do a violin and dance?
Well, when I started to kind of make my craft, I thought, I really want to be an entertainer. I don't want to just impress people, and I wanted to provide a show. That's what I love when I go to a concert, is I love when there's all kinds of different types of entertainment, costuming, dancing, lights, And so in my head, the violin wasn't just playing fun music for me. It was my mode to make fun films and my mode to dance and make fun shows. That's what I always saw in my head. And it's really great that finally now I'm there and I've been able to create this vision. But at the beginning, it just started with violin paired with movement, and the movement turned into dancing.
Do you perform at music festivals, electronic music festivals?
Yes, we did Electric Forest this summer, and we have some fun ones coming up.
Are you as good a dancer as you are a violinist?
No. I'm a self-taught dancer.
Use a lot of special effects too, right? Animation?
Yeah. I like to kind of create a fantastical world in my videos.
You also get involved in causes.
I do, yes. I have some things that I really strongly believe in and some charities that I've kind of aligned myself with. Everything from awareness to mental health disorders I work with a group called the Underground Railroad, and they deal with human trafficking.
Yeah, they do a lot of great work. Do you ever play classical violin again, at all?
You know, I recently, well, about a year ago, I almost got recalled back to classical, and so I've started taking lessons again and kind of trying to up my classical chops.
Do you enjoy classics as much?
I think I'm always going to be kind of drawn to the dance music. It's just so invigorating for my little spirit. But at the same time, there's something special, and I think because I was originally called to the violin through classical music, it'll always be a part of me.
How did the America's Talent thing come about?
It came about kind of a whim. I just felt really, you know, I saw they were holding auditions in LA, and they didn't have an audition in Salt Lake where I lived at the time, but I decided to take a chance, and I flew out to LA and stood in the long lines, and I auditioned, and you know, it went pretty well until, you know, I made it to the quarterfinals. But I remember it was quite a jump from going from open mic nights and playing in front of 10 people to being on a national stage where you're playing in front of millions of viewers. It was quite a shock to the system.
Did Piers Morgan make fun of you?
He did.
What did he say?
Oh, gosh.
Oh, he said that'll never work or something.
Yes, it was the most devastating moment of my life. You know, so much led up to it. I was so excited. I'd worked so hard, and then on live television, he said, like, what you do, you know, you're just not talented enough to make it. It'll never work. You'll never fill a theater in Vegas. And the line that really hurt was, you sound like drowned rats being strangled when you play the violin, which, you know, growing up playing the violin my entire life, this was my voice. And it took a lot to get over that, but in the end, I honestly feel like it kind of gave me the motivation to, like, ooh, I'm not going to let this be the last that people see of me being told.
Because it could have discouraged you.
It definitely did. I'm not going to lie. Like, it took everything to get myself on a stage months later, again, to try just even a small performance. It was terrifying because I had, in my mind, failed so miserably. And so to get back on a stage was just, you know, horrible, but
What did the other hosts say?
You know, they all kind of agreed.
Really?
The others weren't as harsh, but they all just kind of, you know, well, yeah, you know, you just don't have what it takes, and have to agree with Piers. It was that kind of a thing. He's the one that, like, really, you know, drilled the nail in the coffin.
So what made it for you? You overcame that.
Yeah.
What do you think did it?
Honestly, it's this great machine called YouTube. I started posting videos online, and, you know, and this is after I had gone to America's Got Talent. I'd gone to talent agencies, and everyone just, you know, record labels, they all said the same thing, you know, you're just too different. And then I put videos up online, and the great thing about YouTube is that you don't need, you know, there's no gatekeepers. No one's waiting to tell you if you're good enough or not. It's just your audience. And there's an audience for everything on the tubes because, you know, everybody's different.
Coming up, Lindsay's sister Brooke, who co-authored her new memoir, will be here to talk about the book and how this whole thing came about. Don't go away. Lindsay Stirling is with us. The book is The Only Pirate at the Party, and joining us is the co-author of the book, her sister, Brooke Passy. So your name is not Stirling, or is your name Passy by marriage?
Marriage.
Aha.
Ah.
So you were a Stirling.
I was a Sterling, still
Okay.
am.
How did you, are you a writer?
Yes.
Okay. So how did the idea that you would do this book?
That was Lindsay's idea. She called me up when I was finishing up college as a creative writing major and said, hey, I thought a book would be a fun project. You want to do it with me? And okay.
Roped her in.
So this covers her whole life?
Up to this point, yeah.
What did you think when she got into all of this?
Oh, it was so exciting. We were actually roommates at the time in college when she started dabbling in the whole dancing, playing, and performing thing. So we would go to open mic nights together, and I'd stand in the small crowd and cheer for her.
My #1 fan, and she titled herself my manager, so that she's like, I've got to come to every gig because she was my manager.
So was it hard to write a book with someone you know so well, or easy?
At first it was very daunting, trying to kind of be her and get in her head and make sure I did her story justice. But after a while, we just kind of got into this groove where it became very easy to kind of bounce off one another. And go from there. So it was
Were,
really fun.
were your parents involved?
In the writing process, well, my parents are both writers, and so I
Well, they are.
definitely let them look at it, and I took their feedback at points. But as far as the actual brainstorming, not as much.
So you're 29, you're 26, right?
Correct.
So when you were playing the violin at age 6, you were 3. Do you remember the squeaking of the violin? In the house?
Yes. Often.
What? I never squeaked.
No.
Did music play a role in your life at all?
Yeah, absolutely. Our parents were very, they were very into music and classics, and they wanted us to all kind of partake of that. And I played the cello growing up, and our older sister played the trumpet. And
Were you there when Lindsay went on the America's Got Talent?
I was.
Were you destroyed when they hit her?
Yes, that was such a hard moment to live in. It was so hard being so far and right there at the same time. So that
Yeah,
was
she
rough.
and the whole family was like
Yeah, we
right
were
in the
all
balcony.
sitting
I could
there.
see them, and
Did you cry?
Oh, I did.
we all did.
I did. It was terrible.
You're both Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, right? Mm-hmm. And you're very observant?
Yes.
Yeah, huge part of our lives still.
Once you're a Mormon, if you're devout, it's part of your life, right?
Yeah, it's part of who
Yeah,
you
I
are.
think it's a
and
continual choice. But yeah, it's definitely a strong part of our lives.
I know a lot of Mormons get into music.
it's a very, it's a huge part of, a lot of us are raised, singing songs in primary, and it's a part of kind of the culture of the church a little bit.
All right, so writing the book, was it a joy for you? What was the experience like to write the book? It's her words, right?
Yeah. Yeah, well, they're all her, journey and her thoughts and emotions, and so our journey in writing it was kind of a roller coaster as well. We had a lot of really good moments, and we had some disappointments along the way, trying to find, agents and publishers and stuff like that. But overall, it was an amazing experience, and we had a lot of fun, kind of reliving a lot of those moments of her life.
Do you have a boyfriend?
Ooh, not at the moment. I have a dog.
A very cute one.
And where do you both live? Where do you live, Linz?
I live here in LA, and
I'm in Arizona.
I think that's one of the things that was unique, and I didn't even think about it while we were working on the book, but we were hardly ever in the same even part of the world. A lot of times I was touring even in Europe or Asia, and so I would stay up late after a show. She would wake up early, and we'd find times to Skype, and praying that the internet connection was good. And, Brooke, the reason I wanted Brooke to write the book is several reasons. She's a great writer. She has amazing wit, and she's, no, I'm serious, girl. But she's so funny, but also she knows me better than anyone, and she's been through pretty much every chapter of my life, childhood, college. She was my roommate. She's come on tour with me. She was there at the America's Got Talent. She's been there through it all. And she put an incredible, she was able to capture my voice. And that's one of the things we worked really hard on as we went back and forth.
Very proud of your sister, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's a joy, especially after that America's Got Talent
Yes, it's
experience,
been-
to come back from that.
It's like a Rocky moment, Yes!
Ta-da.
Ta-da! Well, I want to thank my guests, Lindsay Sterling and Brooke Passy. Read their book, The Only Pirate at the Party. And remember, you can find me on Twitter at King's Things. I'll see you next time.